All right, Dan, we have painted a little bit of an uncertain picture for Disney in this first half of the show.
It's an uncertain if your timetable is short.
Yes.
They own everything they need. They just don't know how to deploy those assets. Even if you look at the movie theater business is becoming blockbuster driven. The art house film is much more likely to have a limited release and go to Netflix now. The only films you are going to see are the Disney ones. If you look, we passed around this list. Was it 7 out of the 10 most anticipated? It was a Fandango list.
Oh, yeah, it was something ridiculous.
7 out of 10 are Disney movies. They have the next Star Wars movie and Avengers Infinity War and Frozen 2, which didn't make the list, coming out next year. That is absolutely, that's $4.5 billion of box office if they don't do well.
Right. Yeah, to your point earlier about the Disney standards being a little different, there's a lot to be excited about with this company. You named a couple, but the slate for 2019 releases is darn impressive. And I have to think, looking back at how we were talking about it before, the studio business fuels the merchandise business, fuels the theme park business. You get those types of hits, it could be off to the races again, especially because so many of these are proven franchises.
And they've also gotten smarter about their business. So part of the reason for the Fox acquisition is so when Disney makes its box office slate every year, it can line up and say, we have 10 guaranteed hits and we are taking 2 shots of maybe a remake and maybe 1 new property, which they're more likely to do animated because the failure on an animated can be made up in the secondary. There's still a DVD market. There's still a kids market. So if you put out like a Cars 3 and it doesn't do as well in the box office, still going to do fine. Kids like to watch movies. Parents can't pay attention all the time.
Parents love for their kids to be watching movies.
Yes. But the other thing they've gotten really smart about doing is there are all sorts of additions coming to the theme parks. There's a Tron roller coaster. There's the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster at Epcot. There's a pretty major makeover at Epcot. There's some tweaks and some new shows at Hollywood Studios. They aren't telling you when any of those things are coming. Because if I really, really want to go to Hollywood Studios because of the new Mickey Mouse ride, which is the first ever Mickey Mouse featuring ride, and some people are very big Mickey Mouse fans, I know, living in Florida, they're not letting you know exactly when that's going to open because they don't want me to say, I won't renew my pass. I'll wait 6 months until I know when that ride's opening.
You know, that dynamic reminds me a little bit of the Apple iPhone product release problem where they say, okay, we've got the new device coming out. Here's where it is. And then sales halt because everyone is like, well, I'm not going to buy a new one. Like I'm going to wait until the next one comes out and I want to see what the specs look like.
And the other thing that Disney has fallen victim to is when you put something out that's kind of underwhelming. So their big release this year was Toy Story Land. Toy Story Land was an existing ride, Midway Mania, which is a great ride. It's really fun. It's a shooting gallery. It's interactive. It's a lot of fun. A sort of carnival spinner ride that's nothing special. There's 30 other versions of it in the parks. And a family roller coaster and a couple of new quick serve restaurants. A very nice addition to a park that needed it, but nobody's taking a vacation for that one.
Right.
And they built up anticipation. The same thing happened at Universal Studios. Their big ride this year was Fast and the Furious, which is a fine ride. It's not that fast. It isn't at all furious. It's not a thrill ride. And people really, because that was the big release for the year. Now they're only going to do major releases when it really is something major. When it's just an incremental, here's something cool that's new, they're going to downplay it a little bit and try to even out their business. The biggest challenge Disney's going to have in the next 2 years is how do you manage capacity? When you have the Star Wars ride that has you're piloting the Millennium Falcon and there's 6 simulators and 6 people can sit in 6 and it's a 6 or 7 minute ride, you can see how the line's going to get pretty long for that one. So how do they entice you? And they're doing it with pricing to go to Animal Kingdom that day, to go to, whichever park isn't going to do well, to take a water park day. The pricing on the tickets for one day is different by park. It's different by crowd. There's all sorts of premium upcharges. If you want to ride that ride 5 times in a row and you're willing to pay $200, there'll be an option for you to do that.